This is Kessben 93.3 FM, a new wave of excellence in radio.
Midfield action, Kessben 93.3 live on Kessben Television, Friday edition, 3 p.m. Ghana and Uruguay. A big game, Ghana here. Yanya dia drawn game. Yedibit me a round of 16. Witney, Sir Honorable Adongun Sama, Kafa, a Harry Maguire. Our parliament, any kakeke. You tell me, oh, the football, na yeti kakra, in the area, I'm famra, Nafi, Yamfandi, and Nikakra, and so, Enra, Nanyasam Kitwakra. All right, you call a year Marijataho, Nafi, Wabobo, no, the Ebre, and also, or the Abre. Marijata.
Right, General. General Menton Kappa.
And you drew so.
Yes.
Yes, kakra Ghana and the Uruguay game, no, Nafi, other stories episode the two.
All right, boss. Medase General. Medase a big game. We've all been waiting for this moment. A bit drawn more now. Osha Uruguay. You need omuni in this sort of rivalry, but based on what happened 12 years ago, or South Africa, Ama Accra be about the Uruguay for in terms. So there were questions as to why Suarez was chosen for that press conference. You know, to infuriate already your anger now you want to. The comment, your defense and also your porous, acquainted them. Those comments in your commenter, General na clear. Now, I'll be talking about Uruguay in two different angles. They've had some two different games, just as we Ghanaians. Yes, we about 2 games, you know. So, Osha already Uruguay about a certain Korea. About Korea, I mean South Korea, Wabono. And about Portugal as the second game. So, General, so here I'll tell you one secret here. About Korea, about a certain Portugal, but Ninano about with 2 different formations. It's a secret. I'll tell you the reason why. About Korea with 4-3-3. Korea about 4-3-3. Odu Portugal and about 5-5-3-2. 2 different formations. 2 different opponents. None of it ultimately ball at 28. But there are other details to get out of what you are seeing here. 4-3-3 no amani go bia no goal. Coach Amponsaidi can say Oman should go bia or no goal, no shot on target against a certain South Korea. But Portugal game no amano 10 chances out of which a 3 and a general a call target. So this is the reason why we need to be very much careful with Tima, your friend said, Uruguay. What you need to understand, and say, why would Uruguay go with a 5 back against Portugal? Now, don't forget there's a certain Nuno Mendes of PSG. Over on the other side, so more João Cancelo, and also so Ebo. So these are the 2 wing creators. Uruguay adapted here. It means whenever they face an opposition or yes so tough on the wide zones I'm gonna try so I'm gonna adjust to team. So crucially, I'll tell you one thing here. None of the games are here we Ghanaians here body here Brazil we conceded 3 goals. 3 from Brazil. Switzerland we didn't concede, but Korea 2 goals from Korea. 2 and then Portugal. General I'm also so at the boss will be miensa eto in it. Now, out of this, out of what you are seeing here, the reason why we need to be very much careful is that there can be a circumstance from those games of which Uruguay beat me so at their punishment because I'm more adapted to the opponent. Now, so Brazil goes now. There was a certain Marquinhos at the ball eto in net through the header. Richarlison, don't forget. At the ball, through a header. So 2 headers from Brazil, 3 goals, 1 penalty, and your header. And that header, if that goal so well, it was in between the 2 centre backs, just as Coach Tommy Eka very, very earlier. And then we had 2 headers from South Korea, this angle. 2 headers, straight from South Korea. So the last couple of games I consider in general, 56% have come from headers. How many goals have we considered? Brazil gave us 3, Portugal gave us 3, but out of that 3, 2 were from headers. And then South Korea also. So 4 goals out of headers, which accumulates some 56%. We need to be very much careful, General. Now, the reason why we need to be very much careful is that we usually don't defend so well, but I'll tell you one secret from this particular situation and why we need to be very much active within your zone, especially say your defender. What you need to understand from these guys, and it's they are not coming like the Uruguay we used to know. The old generation is gone. We are down to the new generation. This squad is a blend of the old one from Cavani, Suarez, Fernando Muslera is not getting a chance to be in the goalpost anymore. And it's a certain Sergio Rocher from Nacional, Atletico Nacional. And he's a local goalkeeper. But he is obviously coming with this Uruguay side. So let's start from the game they had against South Korea. Now, first of all, what you need to realize is a back three from here. Uruguay are starting their game in a back three system. Now, what you need to really take care of this side, and it's a general, the back three consists of 3 quality center backs. This is the back three for Uruguay. Now, crucially, analyze something from what South Korea did. South Korea made sure, say, Ombe close to a more midfielder, forcing them to go long. And irrespective of how many players you see here, 3, but to connect to Rodrigo Bentancur, like Spain have been doing with a certain Sergio Busquets, Bentancur is out of the equation. So if indeed, analyzing here, they have the ball, but they can't progress through their defensive midfielder who has to, drop deep and have the ball because South Korea took him out. Now, the other side is that whenever you close them, you are indeed forcing them to go long. And at the end of the day, Sabone call longer. That is where the danger falls. Now, Angel, how many South Korean players do you find here? That is 4 against 2 overload. And if I tell you something about overload, the point I made person is trying to say, you have just 2 Uruguay players here and 4 from South Korea. But you know what? Apart from the touch, look at the technique of Valverde at the ball. And the message I am trying to give you here is that he's so good. He's very fast, very quick, athletic. And on and off the ball, he's been very much effective. Now, this guy has been a key player for Uruguay ever since his emergence with Real Madrid. I'll tell you a lot about how even Uruguay side now are building on strength. What free they are kind of important player to a certain key player where one selecting one and then the progression through the ranks, how he's really gotten some extra minutes apart from the Inimu Obai. And also look at something on your screen here. From 2018-19 season to 2022-23 season, look at the progression. Each and every season, beyond on your minutes kakra count from 19.2%. The following season, it dropped to 38.9. It shot up again to 55, 53.6, 55.8, and 82%. This is Fede Valverde, and he will be telling us his progression with Real Madrid and your fluke. Now, John, I make a lot about this guy because the game has been built for this guy. So this is the defensive third for Real Madrid. Our drop here about Bejebo. Who's a player about defensive third about Bejebo? What you need to understand, what you need to analyze. It's a 1, he has the ability to retain the ball at his feet. 2, the retentional playing you're good into it, will drive this from close to 40, 50 meters. Irrespective of how many players and are close to, because you're very energetic. So Fede Valverde, zones or hard, and tactically, I'll show you something very soon. A Barcelona or Bonabona, he has the ability to win that ball from deep defense, maneuver his way through multiple bodies, and then lastly find a very good passing receiver, and that is the point. So if Uruguay back now, you say the old generation are fading out. They've transitioned, to the new generation. The new generation has been built on this guy, Fede Valverde, and he will be really disturbing our backline today. Whatever design we need to construct on the pitch shouldn't really be based on Fede Valverde, but he's a key component for this Uruguay side. Now, look at something. He's attracted almost about 4 players around his zone. He's around the center midfield. Take a very closer look. He has about 4 players. Now, about the Sanwa, a disturbing or tactical shape because other players in here free. And you know, only to me, Jibo attracted a friend pressure. So it allows the other players to function in equal tandem. And this is the danger this guy possesses for the side, Uruguay. So we say he has the ability to connect this guy And he can also connect to multiple players on the pitch. And he's Fede Valverde. He's always been scoring. He get very closer to the box. And the energy levels are unmatched. Talk about the 4-3-3 and how he's really adapted the fluidity within the system. So 4-3-3 no on home, but any single time, no, make 2.5 positions. I know Coach Ambonsa, Coach Tommy are watching. 2.5 positions. What I am trying to say is that with multifunctional roles. At this point, or box room. Now look. Kavaha is the last man here. That is Kavaha. Because centre backs now a movie out of a zone. But he's making sure the Kavaha position he left is now engaged. That is Fede Valverde. He has the energy to move, connect a certain system. Every coach would love to have this kind of player. Now look at the back five. He dropped inside to make it a back five, even though there's a back for 1, 2, 3, 4 for Real Madrid. But Fede is here. He has the energy. He has the athleticism to join every single zone. You find this guy. And he's always been supporting the defense, just as I show you. So, URUGUAY system is not based on Valverde. But because of the inclusion, the importance in vague, and of what URUGUAY for the power, what I am really envisaging ahead of this game, they say, General, I shouldn't be based on this guy. But say, you want a need for phobia. He should really cater for this guy. So his involvement in midfield has allowed Luka Modric to function with freedom. Luka Modric, but the 4-3-3 is Cruz, Casemiro, and then Valverde. But that is not his permanent position. It will be dangerous against Ghana this afternoon. We should really take care of his movement, his position, and his mobility around your box, because he has the energy to do that. Now, I will explain this. If I tell a big volume wing player, it means he's not a wide man, but he has the capacity to play as a wide man. And I've been saying Valverde because URUGUAY has no goal in the tournament. But the few 3 shots they have on target, this guy has 2. Now look at something here. The red one indicates pre-action. So any action be resulting in a shot is the red one you see here. And then the blue one represents the number of passes that leads to a shot. And they are all in ascendancy. That is the involvement. That is the impact this guy really brings on board to the side Real Madrid. And he's really transitioned that to the national side. He's already progressing. Each and every action he is involved brings some sort of chances. And so, a pass box in General, is very dangerous. As a young coach, if you ask me, do we need to focus on this guy? I will tell you, no. Don't put all your eggs in one basket. But for the fact he has 6 goal involvement in the last 5 matches ahead of the World Cup, is telling us this guy is really on form. Now, to tell you the real nature of this guy, look at the kind of goals he scored in the zone with which he scores. Now, this is the game they played against South Korea in this particular tournament. And the position of Jinaya or Peke, South Korea goalkeeper Kim Sang-woo on target. It really went on target at that particular moment. And the distance is so wide. But before that, he had to maneuver his way through here. Before Peke at distance, he stood on the ground. And he has the energy to do this. This is the kind of trust a certain Suarez, a certain Cavani, Darwin Nunez. These guys have the confidence in him. Wherever he stays, he can pick the goalkeeper from afar, 40, 30, 25 meters. Fede Valverde is the man to go for on any day. Now, to go on a general level, to talk about the URUGUAY team, they have other players who can always create something out of nowhere. Forget about the well-documented fact they have no goal. Forget about they had no shot against South Korea. And I've already spoken of the fact they had 3 against the Portuguese. But they've always been doing something that really need to have them a goal. A bit unfortunate they don't have a goal to show up. But General, I am telling you for a fact, these guys will be warring us. Now this is 2 against 3 against South Korea. Darwin Nunez is the man on that position. The strength with which this guy plays is what we really need to take care of. This is Darwin Nunez. You have just 2 players from here. And I am talking about Suarez and then Darwin Nunez. 2 players as against South Korea, 3 defenders. And the reality is that Darwin Nunez can hold the ball down, try to maneuver his way through. So what you say, overload 3 on 2. But they have the tenacity to bypass this guy and then progress into the final third. And that is a kind of a team they are really stronger. If General or about Korea or about Portugal, trust me, the last 7 goals we've conceded from Brazil, Korea, Portugal, 56 of it were from floated balls. Richarlison, Marquinhos, and then Chogwesun. 4 goals out of the 7 we've conceded last 3 games or 4 games, generally have been headers. And this is another threat where Uruguay can really punish us. Now, so a more attacking threat, of course, they have the defensive side. And this is where we can also take advantage. So look at something here. You can see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 players from Uruguay. But trust me, there are holes in here. Every single action you see here, Uruguay for no more opportunity to create out of nowhere. And Korea made sure that whenever they transitioned, they were as fast as that. So how many players from Korea can you count here? This is how South Korea really did the magic against these guys, because General so Krabo now because when you're quick there, they would always be recovering each and every moment. Born in Krabo. They have a very good team, trust me. Go no a bit of misfortune from my side, but I can tell you for a fact South Korea really made sure that they will create something out of here. But it's an overload from Uruguay. And you can count about 8 players from Uruguay. Yet, South Korea created something nice. Had it not been that off target, this ball would have been a goal. We can do this. We have a very sharp attack. But my secret to Otuado and the technical team is that Uruguay will be frustrating 2 players from Ghana. Thomas Partey is number 1. Number 2 is Kudus Mohammed. If they can take these 2 guys out of the game, we are dead. Their major plan will be centered on these 2 players. They will frustrate Kudus, keep these West. They will frustrate Kudus, they will take Thomas Partey either tactically or mentally out of the game. If they can do that, trust me, they are in the game. But for the chances, these guys, General, will be giving us a lot of chances this afternoon. This is Uruguay. They hosted the first ever World Cup in 1930. They've won it twice alongside Argentina, and they've had huge experience always coming to this platform. This is our 4th time coming to this stage, and I think momentarily, as football scientifically says, football is born momentary, not down to history, as I believe. Momentary formation, momentary strength, every single thing you talk about momentary, generally, it favor we Ghanaians. But what about the mental strength? That is my problem. If we can be resolute, if we can be really resilient, if we can organize so well, tactics win games, but mental fortitude will sustain your win. Let's see what Otuado has against Uruguay General.
Newton Lartey. Nasi. Now, Luis Suarez a small kind. I mean, a quick comment on it. A defense, a weak, a porous. The one for can almost attack, and so a weak is not even one single shot at goal. Nangadam, Omotimaka Koshi goal cry. We have some never me no essence. Omashe, Omitmasashe, simple cry. Okay, defense now on neighbor Bondia. I'm saying, we need to think I goal or World Cup.
General, enya me wama Uruguay enya true ye omunya go back di kofia o mienu a enya me wama at all. 2 games we've conceded 5 so far. 3 against Portugal, 2 against South Korea. It means we average 180 minutes. 5 goals in the dorsal, and the amount 5 goals in the worst of it all. And it's a first half you can concede, but in the second half, so it means 90 minutes we've conceded 5 goals. That is a reality. 90 minutes, you consider 5 goals. A porous. Now, the definition of Suarez's porous is the fact that who attack your fullbacks in Unyaye. That is the truth. Who attack your fullbacks in Unyaye? Who attack your centre backs in Unyaye? We are indeed porous. But sometimes, the reality is that, say, who attacking threat are enough to hold down with defense, and you can stay in games. So don't forget, sir, after seeing the first 2 goals against South Korea, they came back to draw parity. But yeah, attack and responded, and that gave us the 3 points. None of the times any defense in a whole year in these games. None of the times. Against South Korea, our attack in the sustain year. We considered 2 goals, the due level with the 2 Nayash in general, and our attack and I responded later. Against Portugal, the denim said was share we are and say 1-1 your back game room. Okay, and near consider. Our defense have never responded. And also the Brazil game no. Outdoor 1-on-1 with Vinicius Jr. brought a free kick that ended at the back of the net. Nobody should forget this. 1-on-1 situations with outdoor Vinicius at the free kick ne ba mo head share. Free kick from league and in or free bench by sending good delivery and a show Guasun a connect here. So general, your fullbacks in Baba Rahman and then Tariq and my issues. Ali do Honma when Timmy and Kwanimu said Tariq Bekono. Ali do defend a lot, but if you want the offensive side of Alidu, you will not have that. But left back in a crochet. Guillaume Mensah has been doing some quality job ever since Obe J Baba Kakra. But general, in defensive recoveries, we are recovering two things: the spaces and the ball. None of it any team recover. So I told you about the João Felix goal. I also told you about the Rafael Leao goal. Ni free fullbacks, and then the Cho Guasun goal came through the centre backs. If you go back to the Brazil game, the fullbacks and the centre backs, Suarez was right, but the attack will sustain us today.
Okay, enti summarize here. Newton, Ubayan is saying, what's Uruguay's strength, what's Ghana's strength, 2 games, and Obia Abo. Number 3 p.m. Saying Abu Husa game, saying a Bessia call, and a Tosumienu, lineup, Opesenka Otuado, Eyusu, and Area against Uruguay. And why?
Yes, boss, may I say, I think may Samini in a way all the games against South Korea, against Portugal, they had 2 strikers in their starting spot. The first game, they had Darwin Nunez and then Suarez. But of course, Suarez airball with senior striker in Suarez. Now Darwin Nunez, the left wing, now Suarez at that top. And Osha how a game no call any single time Biana. I want to tell you something short here, General. Anytime Biano say Osha Darwin Nunez a break it off and the bar. So Ghana should expect 2 center forwards today. Either Nunez and then Cavani or a certain Cavani Suarez with even Nunez, 3 strikers. They want to really torment us. I am anticipating any of our fullbacks will struggle today. Keep this. That is number 1. Any of our fullbacks will struggle today. The fullbacks will struggle. Keep this. This area we will struggle here. This will be our major struggle point. This area will be our major struggle point. Uruguay will be really tormenting us here. Oh, she game na baby we yam hye beba kese. Eye baba or Guillaume Mensah or Alidu or Tariq. We will indeed struggle here. But the protection from this guy Salis has to do the job in connecting like a back 3 shadow. That was the job Baba Idrisu did against Nigeria. So Salis would then release Thomas Partey and then Kudus. That is our midfield trio. They've always been doing the job for us. But general, if Salis position went to be in so now, it's a sort of drop a bahabeboa. It's a Salis a bahabeboa. If he goes off any moment, we are doomed. I'm telling you. This guy would always be helping this guy to overload here or this guy. Any positioner, General Bedahobiano, we are gone. And then in the final third, so obviously I'll go with Gideon Mensah, General Sawubusame, Gideon Mensah, Amate, Salisu, and then I'll go for Alidu at the right back. I want Alidu to start this game against Uruguay. They are really aggressive. They are really aggressive. So Gideon Mensah, Amate, Salisu, and then Alidu Seidu. Salis, Partey, and then Kudus. So I'll go with Jordan. Jordan had an excellent game. He had an excellent game. He won fouls in the final third. Foul pitch, so maybe about winning foul will be important, General. But closer to the final third, a plus for your game. So Jordan, I want him to start. Inaki Williams would have my trust this afternoon to lead the line against these guys. But the day's leadership can never be forgotten. So I'll go with the previous lineup, with the exception of Alidu coming in for Tariq Lamptey. Gideon should maintain his position. I'll go with a 4-3-3, General. I'll obviously be going with a 4-3-3. And I think this game, Ghana will be winning 2-1 as my prediction. But for Uruguay, they will be coming with 2 strikers. And that is where we need to take very, very care. We should be really, really careful. And they have Fede Valverde who will be breaking off from this angle. This is dangerous. This is dangerous. They have 2 strikers, but Fede will be breaking down from this angle. This is so dangerous. His movement, the timing of his movement, everything Fede Valverde does from this zone, dangerous for your laterals, you know, and then your centre backs, you know. This movement has to be taken care of. If indeed we go off, now obe ade making 3 attackers facing our defense, na Salisu echo off general. Trust me, Omodi Ebenya 1 goal the echo, but my score line continues to stay 2-1 at the end of the 98 minutes, boss.
And asem papa now the atudwane du baby ana obonko vo hunudo. All right. Marijata, ufrena jawa obejiso e de amount. Akokuno enso obejiso. Enyasem kitu akra time bia na netra no na ope lose one no. On pay the titan no. If say okay. Later na enso ye de reason no so aba.